Magana, jarice. In a certain town in the lands of the East, there was once a great king named Abdurrahman, son of Al-Haji Hassan. He lived for a long time, wealthy like the rulers of old. His riches were so vast that no one had ever seen their like. He held firmly to them, for the wealth was beyond imagination. The people of his palace, they lived in such splendor that they no longer knew the difference between day and night. To outsiders, it was as if they were in a world of their own. But despite his wealth, this king was not wasteful. He did not eat excessively. He did not drink to excess. He was not given to vain pleasures. Instead, he devoted himself to prayer. Yet, though he had a wife, the king had only one child, a daughter. This worried him greatly. He feared that, when he died, all his wealth would be divided between his wife and daughter, and there would be no son to inherit his throne. God, however, gave him a loyal helper and many blessings. Still, the thought of leaving no male heir made him anxious. Not long after, a relative of his gave birth to a boy, and they named him Mahmud. The boy was brought close to the palace. The king began to cherish him, though his heart was still heavy since a daughter could not inherit the throne. Nor could she bear the full weight of his legacy. One day, in his sorrow, a learned sheikh came to visit him. The sheikh advised him and gathered 40 other scholars. They prayed continuously for 7 nights, offering supplications for the king. In gratitude, the king gave them gold, clothes, and arms. The scholars accepted his gifts and returned with blessings. After this, the king summoned the great scholars of his land, 40 in number, and shared with them a dream he had seen. They said, "O king, God will entrust you with a trust." Together, they prayed, "Amen," and entered the mosque to continue their devotions. Soon after, the king's wife conceived. Months later, she gave birth, and joy filled the palace. The child was named Mahmud, just as the other relative's son. The king rejoiced, for his heart's wish had been granted. From that day, the king poured his love upon the boy, determined to raise him well. 2 years later, when the boy was weaned, the king celebrated with great festivity, giving thanks to God. Even so, trials arose. Poverty and hardship struck some members of the extended family, while the king's own fortune remained vast. Rumors and envy began to circulate, and some among his courtiers plotted secretly. Through it all, the king's vizier, chief advisor, sought for a way to ease the king's burden. He thought to himself, "Praise be to God. Even though we had no heir before, he has now given us one."